Welcome to another episode of Locked In. This episode is going to be my review of the F3 FormMount. We're going to be going over features, installation, price, and my final thoughts. So, first off, features. Even though this is technically not a feature, I think it is. This mount is definitely one of those designs where once I saw it, I was like, oh my god, why hasn't anybody thought of that, or why haven't I thought of that? This is a really sleek, minimalistic mount that totally makes sense and is very versatile. This mount replaces two of your stem bolts on your existing stem pretty much no matter what brand it is, and attaches your Garmin and GoPro on there if you'd like to clean up your handlebar. I definitely am not a big fan of cluttered handlebars, especially if you're trying to put a bag or anything else on there. The F3 FormMount kind of solves a lot of those problems. Following that minimalistic design is a really smart adjustable mount. This mount articulates so that you can actually position it in 5 different positions. 2 positions for the lower 2 bolts, a low and a high, as well as the upper 2 bolts in a low and a high position, and you can mount it backwards on the top of the stem. This allows you to adjust your Garmin to exactly where you want it depending on the viewing angle that you like, or if you're running anything below the stem like a GoPro or a bag. Next, when you actually pull the mount apart, this is where the real trick feature comes in. It has the 2 extended arms that come with the mount initially, and they have 2 extended arms so that you can actually tailor the length of these depending on the device or phone that you want to use this with. And you can actually switch out the bottom to their GoPro style bottom if you want, or you can have the sleek bottom to give you more space underneath the mount. So this allows you to really tailor it to any stem design that you have. I've run it on both my 3Ts, my S-Works, and a no-name brand one that I had in the house just to double check everything. And with the spacers included, everything worked flawlessly. So I really like their thought process on this and their elegant, sleek, minimalistic design. Next, let's move on to installation. Now, installation on this stem is something that initially was a little tricky, and I reached out to the company and they actually sent me this extra little piece to actually hold the arms on the stem, and I'll get into why that's important next. First, what you're going to do to install this stem is remove 2 of your stem bolts, either the top or the bottom, depending on where you want to mount the stem. Now, don't touch your existing bolts, and here's the reason why. If you're going to use the GoPro mount, it does limit the accessibility for the tool to get to those other bolts sometimes, depending on the position that you're in. And F3 actually recommends is leaving those torqued down to the full torque spec. This is going to allow you to get the top bolts torqued to the same setting, because you can actually just look at the visual space between the stem plate and the stem itself. Since I wasn't able to get my actual Ritchie 5 Newton meter torque tool into that position with the mount because it does get in the way, so I did have to use my fix-it stick to get in there. But after that, I had no issues. So what you want to do is figure out the position that you want, get your bolts installed. Next, you want to take the clamp and hold the stem arms in place. Now, even if you have an earlier version of this mount or you get one without the clamp, you can still totally adjust it. It just takes a little fine tuning because the arms tend to shift a little bit once you fully tighten it. So all you want to do is actually shift them back the other direction. So when you tighten it, it actually all straightens out. That's what I did initially, and it was totally fine. They sent me the clamp after because it was actually a prototype, and now it's in production. So after you install it, you want to make sure that it's definitely level. And what you want to do is grab onto your hoods and push down on them real hard. Give them a couple of different shakes and maybe a bounce or 2. This is just to ensure that your torque spec on your handlebars is high enough so that your handlebars don't slip on you on the trail. Next is the GoPro mount. That is something that you would definitely want to install prior to putting everything together. To install your GoPro, you simply feed the bolt through one side, and it uses the existing GoPro style nut that comes with every single GoPro mount that you use already. Now, my GoPro mount is actually the version 1, which actually doesn't have a notch, which they actually changed on the version 2 GoPro mount that they have out now. Even with that, I would still be able to just kind of hold it and get it finger tight, and that actually allowed my GoPro mount to pivot just enough where I could adjust the angle while riding, but it didn't slide on me or anything like that, even when I was riding. And as you can see here, the footage is really stable. The mount definitely has a little bit of flex when you grab it with your hand, but in my opinion, that actually probably smooths out some of this footage. In this footage, I'm actually running on 25C tires at about 85 PSI, so it's definitely not a big cushiony tire, which is gonna soak up obviously more vibration. And as you saw, the footage is really smooth. So don't worry about it if you feel that it's got too much flex in there. It's actually a good thing for your GoPro, in my opinion. So now let's get on to price. The FormMount retails for $59.95. If you want to add their phone component, that's $34.95 additionally. It's an extra $14.95 for their GoPro attachment, and it's $4.95 if you want to add those colored plates. So let's get on to my final thoughts. Now, I definitely really like this mount. It's definitely super clean, and I'm in love with the aesthetic and the functionality. This allows me to really tailor the position for my Garmin 800, and I've been really interested in getting into bike packing, So I definitely think this is a great versatile mount that I can keep with me, and it's not gonna limit me on where I can stash my Garmin, because that is honestly a problem sometimes. Now it does have its own little quirks, like I said with the installation, and it is a little tricky to fine tune it just right since the arms articulate. Sometimes the Garmin wasn't level when I initially installed it. The clamp definitely pretty much eliminates all that problem, but just keep in mind, this is not something you're just gonna throw on in a minute or two. It's gonna take some finesse if you really are particular like I am and wanna make sure that your Garmin's perfectly level. Now the GoPro footage that it produced was definitely really smooth, and I was really happy with it. Honestly, I really couldn't ask for much more on this mount. It's already pretty lightweight, it functions great, the fit and finish is awesome, and I haven't had any problems with it yet. And you're gonna be seeing it probably a ton in future videos, because I'm gonna have one for each of my bikes, because I'm definitely sold on the design and the function for this product. So I hope you guys like this video. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, thumbs up this video, like my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All my links are in my video description below. And thanks for watching another episode of Locked In.
Let's get